Hello, everybody. I am Baron Baptiste, and this is Disrupting the Drift podcast. We are here bringing truth. It's a place where we can tell the truth, and the truth can be told. There's subjective truth, there's objective truth, reality, and I think our goal here is to get to some reality, outside of just subjective and get to what's real. And what I've learned is when you get to truth, there's light. And then that light, it's like a lamp upon your path in life to live by. And the more I keep walking by that light of truth, it expands. We expand. We open up to something in ourselves, something greater than ourselves, and keep truing up. And then you discover who you could be. As Shakespeare said, you know who you are and not who you could be. And our intent here, what we're up to here is having conversations that allow you to discover who you could be and to become that being, become that human being, that person that you could be. Beyond who you are, nothing wrong with who you are. Maybe there's lots wrong with who you are. And it's time to update and elevate, lay down that old life, pick up a new one. And that's why we're here. Hey, David.
Hey, good to be here, Baron.
Yeah, good to be back. We have a very good question we can jump into right here. And so here goes. And you all send your questions to Disrupting the Drift at baronbaptiste.com. Receiving your questions and getting to respond to them gives me the sense of that getting to relate to you and what's important to you, the listener here. So thank you. Please share the show as well. We're on YouTube. 2 episodes a week are being dropped, usually Tuesdays and Thursdays on YouTube if you want to watch at Baron Baptiste Podcast, YouTube. And all right, David, you good?
I'm good, man.
Yeah, good,
Ready to
good,
roll.
good. Ready to do this. So here's the question. I am loving your podcast and look forward to every episode. And what I'm learning is helping me every day. Thank you for that. Yeah. My question is, how do I deal with a loss of motivation? I've been dealing with a lot of difficulty in personal relationships, loss of income in my business, plus a series of difficult people and employees. Basically, how do I find motivation in difficulty? Because I've lost mine.
Mm,
It's good.
yes.
What do you say?
Let's look at the word motivation. What is the true meaning of the word? The question is. So motivation is the word derived from the word motive, which means needs, desires, wants, or drives within the individual. Now, some
Is
words,
that the dictionary?
that's the dictionary, basically.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Words associated with motivation are motive, motivating force, incentive, stimulus, stimulation, inspiration, enthusiasm, drive, ambition, initiative, determination, and enterprise. Okay, those are all the positive words. But there are also flip sides to those words, which could be fear, worry, anxiety, loss. And so we can really be motivated by both positive and negative forces because
Mm.
a lot of times when people fear that they're going to lose everything, they get really motivated and jump into action to try to salvage what it is that they fear that they're losing or could be actually losing. The person who wrote the letter says that they are losing income and having difficulty with friends. So then the question goes to,
Employees, people, personal relationships. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the question goes to, how will you choose to respond? Because, see, the motivation and the response I think are synonymous. I think they go together. And sometimes, as you and I both discuss, Baron, sometimes it's actually a good thing to prune a tree with limbs that are not producing or dying. So
Mm-hmm.
you prune off the parts of your life that aren't working. And so now you have room for new growth. But the question is, are you avoiding the pruning and the potential for new growth? Because there's a problem with most people, and that is they like to protect the status quo. In other words, people instinctively don't like change.
And
Oh,
as
yes.
Thoreau said, the only thing that never stops changing is change.
Mhm.
And we resist change
We do.
everywhere, all of
We
the
do.
time, with everyone, in
Yeah.
every situation.
Yeah.
We resist. There's resistance. Yeah. And in that resistance, there's reaction. I want to add this. Something that comes to mind here as you're speaking is the word motivation comes, I believe it comes from the Latin roots, Latin root words, uh, m- modum and movere is to move. And I believe modum means within. So true motivation is to be moved from within
Mm.
oneself, is how I'm bringing that aspect. Because and then the question is, okay, if you're dealing with a lot of difficulty, I love that, pruning off what's not working, pruning off the relationships that aren't working. Now, pruning off could mean, yeah, pruning off, letting go, stepping in front of it, moving on. It could be that maybe they're not like dead, like on a tree. Yeah, the dead limbs that need to be pruned off. It could be, and just dead weight, it could be that they need to be revived. It could be you haven't been paying attention. It could be your kids are upset with you because you're not present with them. Just when you're around, or just you don't even need to physically be around, but there's just a missing presence that needs to be revived. And that may actually nourish you, empower you, or bring life force back into your veins in such a way that from relationship with the people close to you, than when you're dealing with real difficulty in life, because you're handling the so-called difficulty that's just born out of your ignoring. If you don't water your plants, they're going to die off, right? And relationships are like that. But to choose what relationships, or who do you want to be, if it's someone you want to be in relationship with, let's say, and you know that, then maybe it's time to update. If it's, I don't want to be in that relationship anymore, prune it off. But partly when you start pruning off and removing what's not working and who's not working in your life, you start, yeah, creating that new space, right? Like you mentioned, that creating that new space. But in that new space, there's new energy, new vitality, new prana coming up in your being, and in your energy, and you have new energy. So when you're in the face of difficulty, there's more creativity presence, a presence of creative force. And what I mean by that, where you used to maybe just get reactive in a difficult situation in a one-dimensional way, you now see the same situation or the same person, but now you see a multitude of previously hidden pathways of how to deal with that difficult situation. It may go from a blurry, difficult, oh, they're just a-holes, or like, to suddenly the fog clears and you just see one access, one thing there, one thing you could do. It goes from a blurry blob to specific, and one access point, one thing you could do or say to begin to move and shift that situation. So it's not weighing on you. And it maybe you don't have the power externally to deal with it because it's just something lingering there or something outside of your influence or realm of control, but you do have control of and within yourself. You have access to control and to say, okay, just stop, Baron, stop. Get out of your imagination, get out of your resentments, get out of your fault and blame, get present, stop, drop into my body, feel the feet to the floor, my feet to the floor, wake up, open up, get present out here, wake up, and then see all the different alternatives. What I can change it, what I can't change, okay, leave it, let it be. But you start cleaning things up. But here's the last part, and then I want to hear from you, David. To move from within, again, the question, motivation, I've lost motivation in the face of difficulty. If motivation, coming back to the Latin root, modum, from within, and be moved from within yourself, what's true? Who are you becoming that you want to become? Who in your character do you want to be? What muscle do you want to develop in character? Do you want to be strength, of courage, of truth, of love? Then anything that doesn't measure up to that truth, prune it off and keep truing up to that truth from and flow from that place from within yourself.
So, a quick search of the word motivation produced this. Which word originated the word motivation? And the word motivation is originated, as you said, from the Greek word mover,
Mm.
Movere,
Oh, it's
which
Greek.
means
It's
it's
Greek.
Greek, which
Ah.
means motion. And I
Mm.
love how you attached the idea that from within. So I looked down,
Mhm.
and what it says here is, what is motivation derived from in Latin? And it goes to the Greek word for inspiration.
Hmm.
And the Greek word for inspiration is a combination of God plus breathed.
Wow. The God,
Uh-huh.
the breath of God,
The breath of God.
the breath of life.
Breath. And
Wow.
so again, we could live,
Inspire.
yeah,
Mhm.
we can live our whole lives. And I have to go to this idea that most of us are externally motivated. In other words,
Mhm.
all of the pressure of the world that we are born into
Mhm.
pushes in on us, and that pushing in on us shapes and molds our way of looking at the world, and especially from our environment. We become shaped and formed by our environment. And so the environment gives us a certain degree of validation as we conform to whatever forces and pressures there are in that environment. Now, what happens is when our world starts to fall apart,
Mhm.
most times people don't realize that it is actually a huge opportunity to reorient yourself,
Mhm.
to see what it is, as you talk about pruning, to see what it is that actually has never worked. And most people, if given the opportunity, there was a survey, and they asked people, if you had the opportunity to change your vocation and do something entirely different without consequence, would you do it? 78% of the people that were surveyed said, "Of course, I would do what I really want to do. I would do
Mhm.
what I love to. I'd play music, I'd do sports, I'd go fishing, I'd do all these different things that I always wanted to do, but I never did because I didn't give myself permission."
Mhm.
And then the other 22% said, "No, because what's more important to me is security." So I think that sometimes what happens is that when our world falls apart for whatever reason, what it's doing is it's giving you that opportunity to actually figure out what it is you really want to do and what you're really here for,
Mhm.
because your life, you have a singular life. Your life is mutually exclusive, even though you're caught up with other people, even though you have friends and you have family and you have your work and all the rest of it. You are an individual like no other individual, because your perceptions, your ability to
Mhm.
see the world as only you can see it, makes
Mhm.
you actually who you are. But if you're allowing the world to press in on you all the time and limit what you potentially can do with your life, then what's happening is you're being robbed of that unique spark of individuality that only you can be, as you said in the beginning of
Mhm.
this show.
Yeah. Yeah, no, very good. I love that actually. It's getting the motivation in the face of difficulty. You want to find what lights you up. Like what's your calling? What's your purpose? What gives meaning to your life? And then inherently you're going to face a lot of difficulty, but it'll be worth it. We're going to face difficulty in life regardless. There's going to be adversity in life regardless of you shrink back and okay, you hide out in your house and you shrink back because you can't handle the haters or the difficulty, the adversity. But what happens is you do shrink back and then you face a different kind of difficulty. You lose yourself. You start getting living in a cloud, a fog, a despair, an anguish. And so the way the world is now, society is, if you want to push out into a purpose, you better be clear you're going to get hate. But the hate is, I said this earlier, the hate is the indication you're on the right path. When you get pushback, when you get resistance, whether it's people very close to you, family, different friends, or you start swinging out publicly, people will come for you. People love killing off leaders or anyone who's leading the pack on something. They'll cheer you on for a while, but if you get a little too bright, You get a little too intelligent, a little too successful, they're coming for you. And they'll be coming for you anyway on the way. But what's motivating you to be moved from within, to move, so you want to move in the direction that you feel called. Your conscience, it's pulling, you're being pulled. We're all being pulled for it. You want to keep moving. And if, as is not Shakespeare, Churchill said, if you're going through hell, keep going. But I think there's wisdom in the keeping going. Keep moving. And though, here's the other side of it, keep moving and be moved by something greater than yourself. And that something greater than yourself is the becoming self, who you're becoming,
Mm.
not who you are. And take out any judgment about who you are. You don't make yourself bad or wrong. If there are things you're doing that are wrong, own it. Take responsibility for it. Tell the
Because when you
truth
own it,
on
you can
yourself.
disown it.
Right? It doesn't have you anymore.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. As long as it's in the background, you're not acknowledging it. You're trying to stay in front of what you're doing wrong.
Mhm.
And it's actually a self, the inner saboteur, that inner voice says, hey, just keep lying, keep cheating, keep pretending, keep scheming, keep like that. And it's a serpent voice in the head, the voice of demon of doubt in there that it's deceptive because it keeps you stuck. It keeps you stuck in old ways. But the light of truth, you start telling the truth. Okay, I'm doing this thing, and I know this thing is wrong, and I know this thing is undermining me. Locate one thing, and get quiet. Slam on the brakes. Get quiet. Drop in. Get present to what am I doing wrong? Just one thing. And what if you cleaned up that one thing? We can only really deal with one thing at a time anyhow. And there's a bigger kind of repentance, right? There's a bigger giving up, a letting go of ego and pride. But even that is a moment. It happens in a moment of transformation, even if there's a building up to it, and then it happens in a moment. So make the moment now. And though the becoming, the self who you could become, is where it gets realized by where you're coming from, and coming from the light of truth. So there's that owning of truth, and then there's, who do I want to be? Who does God want me to be? Who am I being called to be? And be that before it, live it, breathe it, and anything that doesn't fit into that, let it go, give it
So
up, prune it
for
off.
me, I tend to approach it from the other side of the
Yeah,
equation, which is what I call the conscious process of elimination. Who do I not want to be? Because
that's good too.
sometimes it's
Yeah,
easier to identify because you've
yeah,
gone through all these
yeah,
processes already. You've done all these things. And if you can begin to consciously separate out the things that you want to
yeah.
be from the things you don't want to be, it's
Mm-hmm.
easier to say, these are the things I got to do. When you go into your garage, it's hard when you start, but you start to eliminate the stuff you don't need anymore, right?
Yeah,
And when you
yeah.
eliminate the stuff that you don't need, what's left is the stuff that you actually do need. The conscious process of elimination addresses what are the principles of motivation. Here's the principles of motivation. The human motivation principles state that the human's greatest needs influence their behavior in all aspects of life. Those three principles are achievement, affiliation, and power. Let's begin with achievement. In the last segment, you and I talked about how the hot potato principle and how I have been, somebody tried to give me a hot potato. I said, I'm not going to take this hot potato. This person has tried to
And
give
wait,
me
define what a hot potato is.
a hot
Just
potato
yeah,
is a problem. It's a problem that you don't have to accept. That's what a
yeah,
hot potato is. It's an
yeah.
issue, a problem, a situation that you don't have to deal with. You can actually consciously choose to say, but if you're not aware of that you're being given a hot potato,
Oh wait, let me add this to the hot potato. It's,
yep,
you fast food place, you get a hot potato is often stuffed. It's got stuffing, right?
right.
Got all kinds of junk in it,
Yeah,
sour cream,
yeah, yeah.
scallions, like bacon. Okay. A hot potato from another, and I think in the way we're talking about it, is it's stuffed with someone's vomit,
Oh, yes, with their
right?
poison.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it's stuffed with that, and they're trying to
yeah.
hand that to you in some, and they want you to react. They
Yes,
wanna
they
get
do.
you. Yeah, good. Okay, go ahead, keep going.
And you could replace the idea of a potato with a hot coal from a barbecue. It doesn't
Mhm.
matter what it is, but you realize if you step back long enough, you'll realize that you don't have to accept that. But here's the
Yeah.
idea. I have dealt with a number of hot potatoes in my life and or hot coals, and we understand that you don't have to accept it. It does not have the power to affect you, and it's still affecting the person that's trying to hand it off to you. And so what they're trying to do is they're trying to impede your personal achievement by bogging you down with something that is detrimental, no matter what it is. If somebody's trying to give you something that you don't deserve or that you don't want, you don't have any obligation to take it. The
Mhm.
second part of this is when somebody tries to give you their hot coal because it's
Mhm.
burning them. They're trying to disrupt your affiliations. They're trying to make you feel guilty. They're trying to lay guilt trips on you. They're trying to make you feel small
Mhm.
and insignificant. Look at what you did. And if you say, okay, I didn't do anything and I'm not going to have this conversation, and you cut it off right there, the
Mhm.
person then has a barrier between you and the problem that they're trying to give you. The third part of it is power. You have personal power by making a choice not to accept their crushing of your achievement and the disruption of your affiliations with people that you look
Mhm.
up to or care about. You have the power, you have personal power, but if you respond to people who are giving you the hot coal and trying to take you down with it, then all of the things that you actually hold dear are also disrupted and
Y
diminished.
Yeah, and you're relinquishing your power.
You're relinquishing your
On
power.
power, Aristotle, I like Aristotle's definition of power.
Yeah.
Aristotle said, "Power is the ability to be and let be."
Mm,
Like, if you're in a moment and someone's freaking out on you or spewing anger at you or attacking you or putting nasty comments in the comments or on your Instagram or something, it's no, you just, Gandhi said, I will not let anyone walk through my mind with their dirty feet.
ooh, that's good.
Yeah. And in a way, there's like, by doing nothing, like again, Aristotle, be and let be, in a way there you're not doing anything. You're not resisting. There's no resistance.
Mhm.
Because what you resist, as Jung said, what you resist persists, but
Yep.
it's more than that. That's a starting. What you resist, it will persist, but it will also grow. The drama will grow.
Mhm.
Your body, your physical, your biology will grow. The story in your head, the all the reactions, the resentment, the stories, and it turns into something that takes you out of your life,
Yeah.
and you go
Yeah.
into fantasy land and you're not related to reality. When you're related to reality and you're in your feet and you see what you be in reality, what you could just be and let them be who they're being and how they're choosing to live, and you don't have to deal with it. I
So
know one last thing, just
yeah.
in my personal experience, I know
Yeah.
when being attacked, whether just people throwing hate my way or attacking, whatever, just people say lies and they do all kinds of stuff, especially on, unfortunately, the way social media, what it's become is this, the world of division, the people who tear down and have a lot of power on there. But I was going to say, what it occurred to me one day, I was thinking about these people attacking. I'm like, and I paused, I stopped and I paused for a second because I was like, I feel nothing. I feel free, feel peace of mind, I feel joy. And literally these people they're like, they don't exist in reality. Like when you're face to face with someone, it's very different, right? And I know that whatever they're saying online and they're grouping up online, in person, they don't wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do it. These
Yeah.
people are, because they're cowards. They're usually the kind of people that are in the wallpaper, hiding in the shadows, or they've got a very phony front face of whatever, being a nice person or kind or compassionate, whatever. But all that aside, I was thinking what dawned on me. I was like, I wonder if those people, if they were being attacked the way they're attacking me, if they'd be in the experience that I'm in. Like I felt free and joyful, and I felt nothing about it. I
Mhm.
don't care. I'm living my life every day.
Mhm.
I wake up, I've got a plan. I wake up and I've got a purpose. And then one thing really quick, and then you go, I stepped over something. You said something good earlier that I just want to respond to about
Sure.
the process of elimination as
Yes.
well as a place to look. I just live my days like that. I wake up and I go through I meditate and I go through usually some kind of physical practice and whatever. I like to cold plunge or take my pup on a walk, whatever, and just get
Mhm.
ready for my day. But part of that morning ritual is I write out what I'm going to do for that day. And then I have a list, an existing list that I keep out in front of me of the things I'm not going to do or give
Mm,
into.
I love that.
Yeah. Including, I know around 3 or 4 in the afternoon, like my energy can start crashing. And if I hit that couch, I'm like done.
Yeah.
So, I even write out these little hacks of things I'm not going to do. Or if I'm going out to a dinner, I don't know that I know there's going to be a lot of food. And like, I have just an intention of a clarity of what are my defaults that basically take me out from being who I want to be in that day and becoming who I could be in the completion of it. But I've written out the defaults. And then the eliminations, I don't keep that list in front of me, but I have that list of just old default ways of being and acting that I know are just undermining. And I'm aware of that. And I'm saying all of this to everyone who's listening because I think it's very valuable, whether you write it out and write it down or just get very present to what do you want to be doing? And what are the things that would take your defaults that would take you out of doing what you want to be doing? And when you see yourself going down that default path, taking you off course, off your true north, stop, get present, turn back, get back on track. That's all. I just wanted to bring that forward because
No,
you
it's
brought up a
great. I
good
love it.
point.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it because
Yeah.
it totally brings to mind those things which you are aware of that you do not want to end up having any power over you. So
Yeah.
that's really it's really great
Yeah.
what you just described. I absolutely love that. But I wanted to say the person that wrote the letter, the same person that is vexing me,
Wait, what letter?
the person who wrote into us about motivation.
Oh, the question. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
the question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The same person who has vexed me with this current hot potato or coal
Mm-hmm.
did this to me 2.5 years ago as well, and it's been ongoing. This is
Mm.
a pattern of vexation. I wrote a book. It took me several years to
That's a
write.
good word, vexation.
Oh, yeah,
You
it
don't
is.
hear that one a lot, but that's a good one to pull out and dust off. Yeah.
So I wrote a book, and it took me a couple years to write it, and then the person would not allow me to talk about it. We have a shared radio show, wouldn't allow me to talk about it on the
Mm.
radio show.
Mm.
But you know what I realized? I realized I had the ability to achieve.
Mm.
I had the ability to affiliate with people who were like me, and I had
Mm-hmm.
the power to continue. So I wrote 4 more books. So
Mm.
now I'm on my 6th book right now. People who wanna hold you down can also give you the strength to stand up and go further than you ever would have gone
Yeah,
before.
it's very good. It's
Yeah.
very good.
I just wanted to
Yeah.
say that because
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what's happening to you. There are things that you
Mhm.
can do, and
Yeah.
I suggest whatever you can do, get going and do them.
Oh, you're reminding me of a study I heard about, which
Yeah.
it was a cat and a mouse, and it was in a maze. The mouse and the cat were in a maze, and the cat, it was big enough of a maze, like a piping, like
Yeah.
clear pipes or tubes, I guess you'd call them. The cat, it was big enough for the cat, and then there was cheese at the end of the maze, and the mouse was aware of the cheese, and then so they let the mouse in and the mouse was going for through the maze to the cheese, and then they released a cat behind the mouse.
Mm.
Now the mouse had several outs, so there were smaller pipes that the cat or tubes that the cat wouldn't fit into, and the mouse could go and hide and be protected, but it wouldn't then have access. They were like dead ends. It wouldn't have access to the cheese. But what the study showed, they did this over and over. The study, the mouse would always continue to the cheese. It would just move a lot faster from the
Mm.
cat. It wouldn't
Mhm.
give up on
Mhm.
its target on its what it wanted. And it was like, but that cat was on its tail
Yes.
and it just moved with more effectiveness and efficiency and
That's right.
focus.
Yeah. I
And
love
it
that.
could have hidden at any point, got into a safe haven anytime. And it knew that, but it went for the cheese. And there's something about that to keep
Yes.
pursuing, keep moving. And
Go for the
sometimes you got a
cheese.
fire behind you,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah, I know when I was younger, but I think that's something we outgrow that. I don't think we want to live like that, but there's certain things that chase us. Like I knew I didn't want to end up back in my parents' basement when I was younger.
Yeah.
It put a kind of fire underneath me. I didn't
Yes,
even know I was going, but I had this fear of what if it doesn't work out? And it's a kind of fire. At a certain point, I had to outgrow that motivation or thinking that somehow if I get the cheese, I'll be happy. It's not that, but keep going. I think there's something about to keep moving, keep pursuing who you can become
yeah,
and in life, and that you want to become and that you're called to become, but then and become it. At least you will go for it and you won't have regrets at the end of life knowing that you didn't even try. But
that's right.
the I think there's value in getting still and get present to, well, what's been motivating me, and then why is difficulty taking me out? Because really, I think when you find a true motivation, like what really a truer purpose, a truer calling, you're going to have a lot of difficulty and maybe even greater than what you have now. But
That's
the
true.
difficulty won't take you out. The difficulties will just be things that you have to deal with or handle or just step in front of. You don't give them the power anymore, but you'll keep moving forward because you're up to something greater
That's
than
right.
whoever peon people or
That's right.
trolls or haters. In fact, hate is a necessary component
Mhm.
of, and again, I'll say it again, is a light, the light that tells you you're on the right path.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so true, and listen, "Without temptation, you have no claim to virtue." That was William Prescott that said that. The
Mm,
temptation is a source that you can draw from and to respond to it with virtue. See?
mm,
And because you develop virtue, and what are virtues? Virtue is hard work, virtue
mm,
is patience, virtue is endurance, virtue is endeavor. For me,
mm-hmm,
if I didn't have somebody trying to hold me down, I'm an indomitable person, so I need somebody trying to hold me down. I need a system trying to hold me down.
mm-hmm.
I don't, because if everything was okay, it would be like, who was it, Siddhartha, that lived in his father's, in the
Bubble.
enclosure until, right,
Mm-hmm.
until he realized the whole
He
world was
thought
full of unhappy
everywhere, well,
people.
the world was just, yeah, the Garden of Eden,
Yeah,
Nirvana, the
yeah,
Buddha. Young, he had no exposure to the
yeah,
real world outside. And then
yeah,
one day when he wandered out, it was it's like people were sick and impoverished and suffering and
yeah,
living in just decadence
yeah.
in such a way. And it was a mind blow for him. But he realized, wow.
And
And he went down that path for a while, didn't he? Of just
yes, he did.
alcohol and
Right,
prostitutes and
exactly.
gambling. And he lived just the decadent kind of debauchery kind of life. And then he hit such a pain point and had some kind of awakening. Wait, there must be more to life than this.
That
And
is the big one.
and
See,
then he
and
went and meditated.
and the things that try to hold you down
Hmm.
are the things that propel you to that event horizon moment where you can realize you can change the world if you stop letting the world change you.
Change yourself, people. Get control of your life.
There it is.
Get control of your spirit. And the way you get control, real simple, stop. Just stop. Any moment, stop, pause, stop, change directions. Choose maybe just one thing, one single thing
Yeah.
that if you handle that thing, it'll start clearing up confusion. It'll start clearing up. You handle that one thing and then go to the next thing. And then a few months ago, I cleaned up my garage and there's just boxes everywhere and clutter everywhere. I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to, where do I do it? And I'm like, just start with one thing. I just
Mhm.
went to a corner, picked up one box,
Yep.
started emptying it out, throwing stuff away, sorting it out. And you just got to start with one thing and then go to the next thing and the next and do that internally, do that in your life, every area of your life, start cleaning up and getting your power because the world is going to get more difficult, you all.
Yep.
It's going to get more difficult. It's going to get more bonkers. It's going to get more challenging to the soul and spirit. And so now is the time to really get present, get related to reality. Come out of the bottles, come out of the numbing away the pain, and really realize, as Khalil Gibran said, the pain you feel is the breaking of the shell that encloses you. It's
Mm,
an opportunity to
yeah,
grow.
one of my favorite
Okay.
sayings. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. All right, you all. Thank you. Thank you, David.
Yep.
You all share the show. We grow by you sharing the show. We grow the show and we grow within ourselves. You, we, and thank y'all. Stay blessed. See you soon.